Welcome to all of you. I am Prakash Reddy. Today you learn good hygienic practices with respect to the food industry building construction consideration. In this video discussion, you will learn what are the factors should be required to consider for the selection of the proper location to set up the food processing industry and good hygienic practices with respect to the building construction, flooring, wall, windows, doors, ceiling, and the construction material which is used for the food processing equipment. These are the all points are covered in this first part. As per Food Safety Standard Authority of India regulation, in Schedule 4 given details requirement of the general hygienic and sanitary practices which must be required to follow each food business operators, in which the main 12 points which are must required to follow in order to meet the food safety standard management system, in which the sanitary and the hygienic requirement for the food manufacturer, location and surrounding layout and design of the food business premises, equipment and the containers, facilities requirement, then the food operations and controlling system, management and supervision, food testing facility, sanitation and the maintenance of the establishment premises, personal hygiene, product information and the consumer awareness and the training. These are the all points must required to follow, and the guidelines are given with respect to the specific industry as per the food safety standard of India must required to follow for the food business operators. These are the all points are discussed in this four parts. What are the factors should be required to consider from the proper selection of the location to set up our food processing industry? In the proper selection, we should require to some point consideration which are very important. In which the first, that is the food industry should not be set up near to the chemical processing industries, mining processing industries, and any construction processing industry line. The nearest area should be required to clean free from the air pollution. Then area that should be required to properly supply of the all facilities with respect to the road transportation systems and the electric system, water supply system, drainage system. These are the points should be required. Then external area should be required to be clean, no garbage accumulation, no any stagnant water, and not prone to pest infection, and the flooding area. This area should be required to avoid to set up the food processing industry in order to reduce the cross contaminations. Next point is that whatever the location and the surrounding of the location, there should be the no uncontrolled vegetation or the forest. To control must require to contamination control and the pest control properly requirement. So for that there should be no uncontrolled vegetations. Then water availability or the sources of water, whatever the quantity of required, there should be required to supply each day, and the adequate waste disposal facility there should be consideration. Then identify the source of the contamination, that means possible source of the contamination near to the that specific area must require to properly consideration with respect to the proper drainage facility, water disposing facility, and the minimum source of the contamination from the air and water. Then source of the electricity and the transportations. These are the minimum requirement with respect to the hygiene and sanitation of the specific location to set up the food processing industry. After properly selection of the location to set up the food processing industry, the next point is that properly design the layout of that food industry. During the designing, some points should be required to consideration, in which the first draw the processing flow sheet of that production process. With respect to the processing flow sheet, must require to design, in which the design consideration is that the product flow should be into the in linear direction. You can see in these pictures there should be whatever the raw material, that raw material into the final product, this must be required to flow into the unidirections, and whatever the waste is generated, this waste is generated in flow into the opposite direction. In this way, we can properly arrange the sequence of the equipment or the processing flow sheets in order to minimize the cross contamination during the processing. Whatever the product flowing and whatever the waste generated, the flow in which the minimum distance should not be maintained, maximum distance is maintained to reduce the cross contamination. Layout of the food processing industry, that means layout is a complete plan of all sections, in which the sections including raw material receiving section, then storage room, pre-processing, final processing, and final product packaging, dispatch sections, then office, canteen, refrigeration section, boiler sections, etc. Also including the water treatment plant and wastewater disposal or the treatment plant system. With respect to the layout, we should require to some points consideration, in which the future expansion of the our industry, then specific facilities requirement in industry, then storage and dispatch facilities specific requirement with respect to the good hygienic practices, and whatever the processing line are set in order to reduce the minimum handling of the product. And finally, after the compound wall of construction of the compound wall into the food processing industry, to control the access of all animals and the unauthorized person in the food processing area, these are the points should be required to consider with respect to the layout design of the food processing industry. The next point is that the food processing industry outside premises must require to consider some points. You can see in this photo what are the main points should be required to considerations, in which the first, that all entrance with the hygienic station, that means entrance of that food processing industry, there should be the provision of the properly hygienic station point. Then drainage system with the underground with cover, whatever the drainage system of the outside area, there should be the properly underground with the proper slope and properly covered. Then proper facility for the employees with respect to the parking facility, then canteen, drinking water, then sports activity, etc. As per specific industry, there should be the provision of the properly garden, proper road system. Then external premises with the proper drainage system. You can see in this photo that the drainage system with properly covered, and there should be drainage system is with the proper slopes, and there outside of the food processing premises is clean. There should be the no accumulation of the water, and whatever the proper cleaning is carried out. Then clearly defined walkway, the proper roads of the concretes, and properly mention the walkway, specific display boards, and also the roads provided the specific direction of the flow. Then proper drainage systems, gardening, these are the minimum requirements. Properly clean and sanitation of the outside of the premises, good hygienic practices with respect to the building construction of the food industry. With respect to the wall of that food industry must require to be concrete brick wall or the concrete block wall with smooth finishing concrete layer on the both side, inside and outside. Corrugated metal sheet walls are not allowed or not recommended. Wall should be the moisture resistance must require to properly coating with the ceramic tiles at least 5 to 6 feet in the wet processing area, and remaining dry processing area must require to properly paint. Whatever the wall, there should be the no crack, no fungal growth, or if moisture is on that wall, then fungal growth and the possibility to crack these walls and physical hazardous and also microbial hazardous on that food is possibility. The wall should be required to properly smooth, properly coated, no flakes paint or the plasters dispatch. You can see proper wall and the ceiling in this photo. The next point's consideration with respect to the wall is that wet processing area wall should be glazed ceramic tiles or the backed on the enamel insulated metal panels to enhance the ability to clean and inside of that wall. Then the wall to floor, or that is the wall to floor or wall to ceiling. Wall to wall joints should be rounded off at the facility to easy to clean. Then wall to floor or wall to ceiling, between the joints, these joints must be required to properly seal, and there should be the 45 angle rounded or maybe specific 45 angle slope in order to properly clean. In some industry, wet processing area, there should be the internally tiles are fitted or maybe the fixed with the in this type of the rounded specifically metal sheet, there should be the fixed. You can see in this photo the specific requirement with respect to the wall and the joints between the wall to floor and the wall to ceiling. The roof, wall and the foundation protect from the element and the pest. In this you can see whatever the drainage system, that drainage system must be required to properly seal of that floor to the drainage system. Then joints junction between the ceiling and the wall and the ceiling on the floor, there should be the properly rounded off and a specific angled sealed to control the access of the pest in the food processing premises. Whatever the internal piping systems and whatever the holes on that walls, that must be required to be properly sealed out to reduce the entrance of the pest into the food processing premises. These are the points should be required to consideration with respect to the walls. The next one is the good hygienic practices with respect to the doors. The door material should be the smooth in surface, non-corrosive material, non-absorbing material. They should be easily cleaned and disinfected. The doors along with fitted plastic PVC strips, there should be the automatic system, automatic closing and opening system, provided the spring systems, then provided the air curtains fitted on the top of that door system. In which the other points consideration, that means door should be required to properly close the all entrance in order to reduce the entry of the pest and the airborne contaminations. Double door entry system is preferred into the entrance system. Also required to be consideration entry and the exit as per the minimum requirements. Door entrance station, there should be the provision of the foot dip and the hand wash stations, and also there should be the provision of the pest and the whatever the rodents controlling devices which are fixed on the door entry points. The next one is the main point is that the door with the external air curtains. Door with the air curtains, you can see whatever the entry point outside of that door on the top of that door completely fixed with the air curtains. The air curtains in which the air is blowing on the top into the bottom and then outside. The area should be required to properly cover to the entry system. This the air curtains which is operated automatically when the door is open, then automatically start the air curtain system. In the food processing premises, each entry point there should be the fixed with the air curtains to prevent the flowing of the air from outside to inside and also from the inside to the outside. and the gap between the doors and the flooring there should be the properly sealed, and the sealing material is fixed with also provided the rodent controlling trapping devices, and also the internally provided the insect controlling devices. These are the minimum requirement with respect to the doors. GHP with respect to the internal flooring system in the food processing premises. The floor you can see in this photo, internal flooring system. This floor should be required to properly concreted material, and after that concreting the properly layer of the natural stone is provided. The slope in the internal flooring system is very important. You can see these are the examples of the floor in which the specific proper drainage system is provided, and also providing the proper slope to the internal flooring system. In this way, we can use any type of the properly sloped system to drain out whatever the internal wash out the liquid. Properly required to internal drainage system covered. Then internal flooring system should be required to be smooth, no any crack to the floorings. Also required to control the internal rodents and the insect entry points, and properly seal out the gap between the flooring and the wall of the entry point. You can see in this photo how the proper flooring and the drainage system required in the food processing premises. The smooth durable surface must be required, and also provide the proper drainage system to whatever the after the washing this wash out the all internal washed liquids. The all drainage systems you can see how to cover the properly to control the insect and rodent entry to the inside of that food processing premises. The drainage system also provided in this way to control the or minimize the cross contamination in the food processing premises. These are the part should required to consider with respect to the flooring in the food processing premises. GHPs with respect to the windows in the food processing premises. The windows should be located to above the at least 300 mm above the bench or the sink or hand basin or whatever the flooring system. At least 3 feet above the floor should be located windows as per the minimum requirement for the specific ventilation system. Windows are provided. All windows are completely required to covered with the netlon net, that is the mesh should be required to properly apply. These mesh are maybe removable to intermediate properly cleaning system. All records should be required to maintain. In some system, in order to properly visitor management system, the windows are provided glass windows to display the inside processing area. For example, you can see these are the windows provided in which the visitors are seen the internal all processing whatever the processings are done in inside of that food processing. Then this is the complete properly visitor management system. GHPs with respect to the ceiling in the building construction, some points should be required to consider. At least the ceiling height required to not less than 2.4 meter. Ceiling should be required to proper good quality material without any crack opening, without any entry point to the rodents insects. Then joints between the wall and the ceiling must be required to properly seal out. The ceiling material should be required to withstand the external environmental conditions, and it is facilitated to easy to clean. These are the minimum points should be required to consider with respect to the ceiling in the food processing premises. GHPs with respect to the plant equipment material construction consideration. The material which is used for the plant equipment constructions, some points should be required to consider, in which the material should be required to be smooth surface, non-corrugated material. It is easy to facilitate the cleaning process, non-toxic, non-reactive. This material should be required to properly select required to construct the equipment, in which the main points that should be required to consider: all processing equipment should be required to be properly covered or maybe provided the lid. All equipment's accessories are the calibrated as per the norms. Equipment constructed with the food grade material and with the safety features provided. All safety features are should be required to properly provided. All processing equipment designed and located to facilitate easily clean, disinfected and maintained to avoid the cross contaminations. These are the main points consideration. The main material which is used for the food processing equipment construction, in which the first one is the directly food contact surface, in which the stainless steel, titanium, aluminum with coated calibrated metals and the cast iron, in which the for the specific in the frying and the cooking surface. And the second one is the non-product contact surface, in which the plastic, rubber and the rubber like material, ceramic material, glass material, in which the food is not directly contact to the processing equipment. The next one is the advantage of the stainless steel, in which the stainless steel is non-corrosive material, good strength, easy for the cleaning and the non-reactive to the any internal processing conditions. The main most common used two type of the stainless steel, in which the 304 grade and second one is the 316 grade, in which the 304 stainless steel is used for in the brewing, milk processing and the wine processing industry. High resistance to the corrosion with the specific processing conditions, and this 316L stainless steel is mostly used for the food processing equipment construction consideration. These are the references used for this PowerPoint presentation. Thank you very much.